All right, the 49ers just made a move. They cut the veteran tight end Logan Thomas, who had 55 catches with Washington last season. Now, you may remember when the 49ers signed Thomas, I thought that this might be a favorite to be their number 2 tight end because they're looking for more of a receiving threat here. But something really interesting happened in this signing, and it's Logan Thomas, despite the fact that he had never blocked with the style and at the level that the 49ers require out of their tight ends, he decided to take a chance and sign with the 49ers. I assumed that Thomas was going to be more well-versed in the way that the 49ers block. But instead, it was a big-time project to get him blocking the way that the system needs. And ultimately, the 49ers said, this is too much of a project. He's not going to be able to make our 53-man roster. So door opens for somebody like Braden Willis. Eric Saubert right now, the veteran who the 49ers also added this offseason, he's the tight end too, as we're watching. But I think Braden Willis is making a move. And right now I only have 3 tight ends guaranteed of making the 53-man roster. Now, in the past, the 49ers have typically carried 4. So Cam Latu, he's going to need to make some splashes here in the preseason starting tomorrow against the Titans here in Nashville. Mason Pline, I've always thought that was more of a practice squad guy, undrafted rookie, former basketball player. But Jake Tonjes is playing really well too. And you know what Tonjes did the other day, and we have to note this. Kyle Juszczyk was taking a vet day, and Jake Tonjes was the fullback. So the 49ers have used the tight end to be the backup fullback. It was Ross Dwelly back in the day when Kyle Juszczyk was hurt. So now Jake Tonjes was playing backup fullback for the 49ers. Does that mean that he is a dark horse contender to make the 53-man roster? Either way, it won't be Logan Thomas. And it was just a crash course on the blocking for Logan Thomas. But unfortunately for him, the 49ers determined that there was going to be much more work needed. It was definitely more of a receiving tight end. I talked to Brian Fleury a few days ago about this, and I said, I've seen all the work that you're doing with Logan Thomas for blocking on the field, all this dedicated attention. Did it impress you that he was willing to come to a place where he knew that something that wasn't his strong suit was going to have to be his calling card? And I think that did impress the 49ers, that he went out of his comfort zone because he liked the style with which the 49ers played, and he wanted to expand the repertoire of his game. And unfortunately, it's not easy. And the 49ers respected Logan Thomas's efforts, but they obviously have a roster to run. They had a couple moves that they had to make as far as signings went, including the adding of a new punter, Presley Harvin III, because Mitch Wishnowsky's got knee irritation right now, so they needed a punter for the game. So they did need to open up a roster spot, and the roster spot was opened up by the release of Logan Thomas. But fascinating stuff, because Charlie Werner in 4 years with the 49ers had 11 catches. So, and he's with Atlanta now. And you go through the entire Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era, they have really, really struggled to find that tight end too, as far as plus receiving goes. Werner was a good football player, didn't catch the ball a whole lot. Ross Dwelly was on this team for 6 one-year contracts, didn't catch the ball a whole lot. You could go back to 2020 when they brought in Jordan Reed. Whenever he was healthy, it wasn't very often in 2020. He was a legit receiving weapon. I remember a game against the New Orleans Saints where he had this shoestring catch. It was really impressive stuff from Jordan Reed, who was a Pro Bowler before that, but obviously that was an injury flyer, and the injury flyer meant that the risk was that he was going to get hurt again, and that did indeed happen. So that's where the 49ers are at right now. They've tried hard to find a tight end too that can catch the ball. They claimed, or they tried to grab Brock Wright in restricted free agency from the Detroit Lions, but the Detroit Lions ended up matching the 49ers offer. Brock Wright might have been that talent for San Francisco. So now they're hoping that somebody like Braden Willis or even Eric Saubert might be able to up the receiving production in that tight end 2 position. Logan Thomas was another swing at that, and it was a zero risk swing. It was a non-guaranteed veteran minimum contract. All the risk was really on Logan Thomas's side. He had those 55 catches for Washington last year, so you know that he's a capable player in the receiving game. But for the 49ers at tight end, it is blocking first, receiving second. You got to be able to do both, obviously, but blocking is first, especially at tight end too, because George Kittle is as good as a wide receiver one as far as his ability to run routes and catch the ball. So you already have a phenomenal pass catching presence at that first tight end position. The second one has to be able to deliver in the blocking game first, and anything that you can get on top of the blocking game is gravy. And the 49ers are going to look at it that way for the other players on this roster at the tight end position. All right, we're going to move it to 49ers Q&A. What's going on this Friday afternoon? Mike says smash the like button. I agree. Tommy Adams asks, is Mason Pline the truth? I don't know about that. He's got a lot of work to do. He's 6'7". He's a big guy, makes George Kittle look short. I think he's a natural as far as being able to catch the ball and absorb contact. We saw that in college, fresh off the hardwood in basketball. He was able to haul in some impressive receptions even in the midst of contact. But doing it at the NFL level, blocking at the NFL level, it's a whole different beast. I do think he's got the size and athleticism, though, to be an intriguing player for the 49ers. And again, don't forget about Jake Tonjes, who's been playing that backup fullback role for the 49ers. Joe Boyd says the front office is completely terrible. This whole situation has been a complete disaster. Okay, yeah, sure, dude. The front office that's built a team that's been to either the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl or both in 4 of the last 5 years has the most highly paid players out of any team in the NFL. The front office that's built the most talented team in the league is terrible. We'll take your word for it, Joe. You're an expert. Thanks for the input. Mike, who needs the biggest preseason to make the 53? That's a broad question, but I'll try to handle it. Who needs the biggest preseason? Cam Latu. I think Cam Latu is somebody who they drafted in the 3rd rounds. They obviously felt that he had potential, but it just hasn't translated yet to the practice field and hadn't had a chance in a game yet. But maybe that's his saving grace, is that he's a gamer. He could show up and he could dominate in an actual game because he's got the body type to be a really good blocker, which is what they need first at the tight end position. And then if he can make a few catches, and he caught a lot of red zone touchdowns for Alabama his final season there, well, he could turn some heads this preseason, and maybe he can grab that 4th tight end spot and that 53-man roster, which may be up for grabs. Who gets to start at QB in tomorrow's game? Well, you're going to see everybody but Brock Purdy play. I don't know who goes first. It'll be either Dobbs or Allen going first. I'm guessing they'll go first quarter Dobbs, second quarter Allen, or vice versa. And then we'll probably see Mordecai in the second half. I would expect that, or quarter and a half, and fourth quarter for Mordecai. We'll see how they do divvy it up. But there will be no Brock Purdy in this game. All right, there's your Logan Thomas update. Answered a few questions. Didn't look like we have too many of them right now. Meetup is coming up in an hour and a half. I've got to go get ready for that. I got to hit the gym before the meetup. Why the 49ers cut Logan Thomas? Lombardi Lounge meetup tonight, 5 p.m. at the Omni. Barline's Bar at the Omni, downtown Nashville. We'll see you guys all very soon.